All right, here we go. We have Dizzle The Star in the building. How are you doing today, man?
Hey, it's good. You see what I'm saying? I'm Dizzle The Star, DIZZLETHESTAR on Instagram and on all platforms. That means YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Instagram. You see what I'm saying? And TikTok. You guys can find me everywhere, all platforms. Thank you for having me, Yashu. What's going on?
It's been a pleasure, man. You know, like I've been checking out the music so far. You know, like 34, a dope project too. Like Eastside.
Thank you.
Like a very nice song, like right there too. Can't Wait is also fine too. And then, you know, the collab with DemDawg. It's also like pretty far too. You know. So,
shout out to DemDawg. You guys already know DemDawg, and if you don't, you guys can find him at DemDawg. You know what I'm saying? Mostly all platforms. Always make sure you shout out your friends. Always make sure.
Sure, man. So yo, let's get it started. So you grew up in Scarborough, like that's correct, right?
Yeah. So what I'm saying, from the east side, not too specific, you know what I mean? Just east end. You know what I'm saying? More close to Markham and Arlington ways.
True. And like growing up in Scarborough, like what was like the environment like for you, like in terms of like growing up? And would you say that it was like a good childhood back then, or would it be like very different?
Environmental wise, like when you talk about growing up, like you have to understand, like a lot of people look at us and they try to compare us to the States, right? So they feel like a lot of problems that we have aren't as big as people that have in the States. So obviously growing up was alright for me. I wouldn't say that I had it super hard. Obviously there was times when, you know, I had to do things or certain things had to get done because I wanted certain things, right? So I feel like as towards more growing up, so I didn't really have like a crazy rough upbringing, like, because my people are originally from Jamaica, so like, we know real ghettos, you know, like up here it's rough and tough living, especially when you're in community housing or subsidy housing or any type of like neighborhood that is known to the government, but compared to like what we come from, it isn't really like even comparable, you know what I mean?
I definitely know what you mean, man. And then, you know, like Scarborough, like it's like the birthplace of like many like musicians, like from all ranges, all areas and all that, and like, you know, even like a few celebrities like here and there too, like Mike Myers, like a very big celebrity, like in terms of like plays and all that type of stuff too. So, you know, even growing up in like Scarborough, like was it still like a big place for you in music, like growing up in terms of being like an industry like end, or was it just as a community, like in that sense?
I feel like Scarborough is a community. Like if you really know Scarborough, then you really know Scarborough. Like there's somebody that you know that's from Scarborough, or you know somebody that knows someone from Scarborough, because that's how it usually is. You know what I'm saying? Scarborough has so much talent and like just so much to offer in general. Like period. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we're more of a community more than an industry, right? But we do have a lot of industry-worthy people in Scarborough. So don't ever get that twisted. You see what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people look past us, especially in that certain area of the industry-wise, because we're more of a community than like people who brand themselves. But we definitely have that side to us.
I know what you mean, man. And you know, like as you know, you mentioned I don't know if you have like any like interesting like stories, like non-musically or musically, that you would like to tell like the audience by any chance.
Interesting stories. So basically I first started out making beats at probably grade 8, and not a lot of people notice about me, but something that I want to share is that I used to DJ. So I used to be out there when DemDawg, shout out to DemDawg, DJ Styles, shout out to DJ Styles, shout out to DJ Dimes, when DJ Dimes was DJing, like when all these guys were DJing, they used to be DJing, right? And a lot of people don't know, but they built kind of like a scene, especially for dancehall music in Scarborough and Toronto, right? So every Saturday night I used to be out there DJing, and we kind of, it was a thing where it's like people would go and they made a name for herself, right? And every week I would go, and there's this one week, right, where something popped off at the party, which is obviously bound to happen when you go to a Scarborough party. You see what I'm saying? It's one of those things that you can't avoid. You're gonna see people that you don't like, or someone you know is gonna see someone that they don't like. But something popped off, and long story short, I had a gun pointed at me. And at that moment, I was like, oh, kind of slid down the next way and had to let whatever was happening happen, because it wasn't for me. It was for the next man. I just turned around and seen that the person that he was going for, I was in between. So I kind of had to remove myself from that situation. And that's kind of an interesting story, because if I didn't act in that way, or maybe I acted too radically, I could have been, killed or harmed or injured, right? But at the end of the day, like, I love going to those parties. Like, that's what kind of made me who I am today. Just getting to meet people and getting to know people in the city was amazing, no cap.
I know, like, a lot of those party scenes, like, back then, like, with, videographers like Maximilian Taylor, like,
crazy.
Yeah.
What? I'm pretty sure you can still find me in some of those videos.
Yeah.
But I was like 13 or 14 going to jams, like, there's Big Man, you see what I'm saying? Like, I didn't miss a jam. I just wanted to be a part of the scene. Like, a lot of people don't really take time to really notice, or just feel the presence that you're a part of something. Like, and something that's bigger than yourself, or something that will last years beyond the years that you live on this earth. And that's facts.
No doubt, I know what you mean. And like, that party scene too, like, it was crazy from time to time. Like, your parties out like west, your parties out here, your parties like OT and all that. Like, I don't know if there were like any like clashes like back then in that sense, or was it just like a vibe for like East End mans to go to like the west side, or like West End and East End like mans to go like OT and all that for like jams and all that. So
to be honest, the way that it was back then, it was more like, if there was parties in the East End, there's parties in the East End, and all the East End man went to the parties in the East End. If there's parties in the West End, if you didn't really know niggas in the West End, you just really go over there. You see what I'm saying? Because that's bound to cause problems, New faces, nobody really likes that shit, right? So there's always that aspect of things. But other than that, like, especially since I was getting to meet new people, and I just love the aspect of just being Barry Gal in the building, like me just surrounded by Barry Gal and they're dancing, having a good time. I just love that feeling. So I was never ever too afraid to go to like another region, to like Toronto, to ever go party. But yeah, some mans are afraid, I'm not gonna lie. They'll be like, I'm not going to that place because so and so knows me, and I know if I go over there, there's gonna be problems. And there's too much of that in the city, and that's why a lot of people don't see that we can get past that and become something bigger. But you know what I mean? It is what it is for now. But back then, those scenes were it. Like, if you weren't going to a jam, or you didn't know about someone that was in a jam, or like, you weren't popping, or you just weren't outside. And if you weren't outside, then what the fuck was you doing?
I know what you mean. Definitely, I know what you mean. And I guess, like, even with those situations too, like, did it cause you to like change your aspect in life in terms of like what you wanted to do, like, getting into the whole like rapping side for a bit, like, as like an inspiration?
To be honest, it really did. It kind of made me want to go into music a little bit more, because there's always like a tipping point, I feel, in people's lives where it's just like you lean more towards something than another thing, especially when you're talking about career-wise, right? So for me, it was like I was DJing, I was making beats, right? And I had a 1-2 like bars I would spit to myself, and in my room I would write down. So it was like I was already doing that on a consistent basis every day. So I said, why not really like put it together and try to make something? And then that's when I kind of started going to the studio and just trying to, try a thing. And that's when I was like 16, 17.
No doubt. And who did you like listen to like back then that like influenced you to take more part in the music, and who would you like to like work with like someday in that sense?
This is the thing. I want everybody to understand this right now. See what I'm saying? Me, Dizzle The Star, at DIZZLETHESTAR, all platforms. I'm an artist. So there's never like one set of a genre where I like this set of the artist more. So for me, it was more hip-hop, dancehall, reggae, and like those are the three genres that inspired me to really, pursue music. And throughout those genres, reggae, Buja Banton, Barrington Levy, like these are people I grew up here. Sunday morning, you wake up, your mother's cleaning the house, like you're growing up hearing these people every single morning, right? So it just gets into your head. You know, hip hop wise, Kanye, Nas, Mobb Deep, like those are the music that my brother played like every Friday to Saturday before he went to his parties. You see what I'm saying? So like it's kind of passed down. And on dancehall wise, like that's just who I am, like when I'm raised on, because I'm Jamaican. You see what I'm saying? And you can hear that in my music. If you guys haven't listened to 3434, I would suggest you guys go right now. See what I'm saying? Link is in my bio at Dizzle The Star, Instagram. But you can definitely hear that in my music, right? And for dancehall, obviously Vibes Cartel, Alkaline, Beanie Man, Elephant Man, like all those guys are big inspirations to me, especially when I first started on music, because like they were the ones that had no help and they're really just pushing it, like with everything they had. You see what I'm saying? So that inspired me to, you know, pursue something like myself.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, like even like just speaking on that right now, 3434, Can't Wait Eastside. You know, like very like interesting like styles of music, like in that sense too. You know, and you know people want to like figure out like what were like the inspirations and the creative like processes. You know, just like working like on those like tracks and projects. You know.
So creative processes. You see what I'm saying? Like, can I smoke on it?
Yeah, no,
we talk about creative processes. This is the thing that people don't understand before I talk about that. Making music is not easy, right? There's so much things you have to pay for an unknown guarantee, right? And when I say the unknown guarantee, I mean like you don't know if you're gonna get paid, right? But at a certain point, you know you will get paid, right? So that's what you strive towards, that certain point, right? It takes money to record. It takes money to get a video, man. It takes money to promote, right? And it's all the money that you have to put in just to get back nothing at the end of the day, right? Unless you're at a certain level already. But my creative like style, I like to take time with it. Like when you listen to my songs, especially Pray For Me on my latest EP 3434, Give Me Your Love, which is dancehall / Afrobeats, Mommy, you can hear that my songs have real purpose and real substance to them. But I feel like when you listen today, like to other people's music, like not shouting anybody down or you know what I mean, but like a lot of music doesn't have substance to it. Like my music has like a clear goal, a clear focus. This is the title, this is what's it about. I'm gonna kind of form all of my language and all of the bars around this one topic so it makes sense. A lot of people like veer off today where they're talking about everything else except for what the topic of the actual song was about, and people are like, yeah, I fuck with it because the beat's hard. So I don't know, but I was just different. I always like to have substance to my music because it was never for other people, it was always for me when I started out.
I definitely agree in that sense too. And you know, like one of the standout tracks alone like was your song with DemDawg in that sense too. And you mentioned that you've linked up with like DemDawg, like you know, in the party scene like back then and all that, but what was like the relationship like, and like how did you manage to get him on like one of your tracks, you know?
So DemDawg is like chrono, you see what I'm saying? Like we go way back, like Sandbox days. So basically it's someone who I see or been seeing on ends for probably my whole life. So we linked up, I hollered at him, said, yo, we should get on a track together. And he said, brother, don't even say a word. And we're in the studio the week of probably, and we were there chopping it up, got the track done. Need to do a little bit of fix-ups on it, and then it was on the tape. But as far as our relationship, yeah, that's my like crody, you know what I mean? Like shout out to DemDawg. If you guys don't know, DemDawg just released some new music too. You guys should go to his Spotify and go to everything, like up everything. You see what I'm saying?
For sure. And you know, like there's like some interesting topics that I want to discuss like on here with you, and like I like saw like your post on IG like a while back that like you actually lost like a friend to like gun violence in that sense too. So not like being as specific but more general. So like knowing that you lost like one of your friends to like gun violence, like how do you manage to cope with like the loss like in that sense too, and to get back forward, you know?
Understanding. I think like that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? Having an understanding of the situation, and also like who you are at the end of the day. Because especially in that situation, A lot of people want revenge, but that's not what I push for. You see what I'm saying? But God will deal with who he needs to deal with. You see what I'm saying? When it comes down to coping, make sure that the people are alright. I know a lot of people have lost friends in the city, and they post them, and it's kind of like a fad, where it's like you just post your dead friends just to show that you had dead friends. Like, that's so fucked up, like on so many levels. You see what I'm saying? And like, that just shows you like where our city's headed to, right? But like, coping is just check up on the people. It's like, if you know your friend passed, check up on their mother, check up on their brother, check up on their sister. It's supposed to be your brother, your sister, your people's too, right? So that's how you cope. You grieve together, and that's facts.
Yeah. And I know like gun violence could be prevented like in many ways too, but in your opinion, like how do you feel like how the city of Toronto, or just like the city in general, should like handle to stop like gun violence, to curb it, and also, you know, initiating like younger mans to like get into like the wrong ends, you know?
I think that it's a cycle that needs to be broken, and as far as the city goes, you can only do so much. I know there are programs already in place for youth, like, you know, there should be more programs. You know, that's what people can say, and there should be more of this for youth and more of that for youth. But at the end of the day, it comes down to teaching, right? What are we teaching our own youth? What are you teaching your brothers? What are you teaching your friends, right? Are you teaching them something of vengeance and something of destruction? So I'm teaching them. Are you teaching them something of life and something of richness, you know? So that's what you kind of have to look at too, because the city can only do so much. They can only put up so many playgrounds, so many basketball courts, so many youth programs. It's time for the youth to actually look at their brethren and look at your brethren and say, yo, let's go over there and go do this instead of go doing that. That's gonna get us in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which means too, and you know, like it even like comes down to like education too, because like some kids who don't even go to like either who go to school who don't go to school, you know, it depends on like the path that they go to. Some like end up on like a wrong path, some like change for the better, you know, so it all depends. So like this one question that I have, do you feel like that like a post-secondary education or any other form of education has any importance for people to strive in like for today, or do you think like there's like other ways for people to be successful without post-secondary or doing like other means, you know?
I think to be successful, you have to be dedicated, period. No matter in what you do, like, you could start your own business. As we all know, that is what's popping today. Starting your own business is now something that's big. Before, when I was like, 15, starting your own business was even a thing that was in our mind. But now, that's what they're teaching in classes, and that's what's becoming relevant today. As far as that goes, like, post-secondary, I feel like is needed nowadays, because now any job you want, they're gonna ask you for some type of post-secondary degree or certification. So that being said, you have to, if you want to survive, right, get a post-secondary education. Especially if you want an entry-level job which pays $15 an hour, you have to get it, right? That's what it's coming to. And as sad as that may be, that's what it's going to be at the end of the day, unless somebody changes that, right? But I always say pursue what you want to pursue, and it doesn't matter if you want to go to college or university for that. You don't have to if you don't want to, right? There's always other options, always other ways, always other paths.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, definitely agree in that sense too. And then, you know, there's even like this whole like debate with the whole like minimum wage versus like this like not the minimum wage, but like the 9-to-5 like lifestyle versus, you know, the entrepreneur lifestyle. So like some people they can do both, for some people you choose one or the other. So do you feel that, like, I think like what I wrote in the question is, how do you furthermore, do you feel like there should be more encouragement for like people to get a 9-to-5 job or like in entrepreneurship instead of like, you know, the other ways to like make money in that sense?
I feel like get it how you live it. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, look what's going on in the world, right? Don't let another person stop you from getting your bread, right? Just make sure that you understand what comes with that, right? Because certain things come with certain things, right? There's certain spirits attached to certain things that you do, especially when you're like handling money and that type of thing. Should we encourage the youth to get 9 to 5s? Yes, because it builds a healthy mindset, right? And it builds good character. It builds in general. You have to do certain things when you have a 9 to 5. Would I encourage everybody and tell you that it's for everybody? No, because we can see today it's not for everybody. People build without having a 9 to 5, and people are successful without doing that. But my mom always told me that to have your own money, you have to work for somebody. You have to work for somebody to work for yourself at the end of the day.
I definitely know what you mean, man. And just with the couple last questions that we have left, like even to speak on like the whole like Toronto music scene. So being a part of it, like in some way, shape, or form, like how do you feel about it so far? Do you feel that there should be like some improvement on like how the scene should go to, or you think it's like find the way to like the way it is?
The music scene should definitely. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I want to hear, and I know that Toronto artists have way more talent than what they're putting out. Like, a lot of music that I see being pushed is one-tracked, right? And I don't want to say that to say it's bad music, but I just want to say that to say it's a one-track, right? It's kind of pushing a certain narrative. Whereas in other cities, and especially in the States, all over the world, in the UK, their music is different track. R&B music is popping, their hip-hop music is popping, some of their dancehall-ish Afrobeat scenes are popping, right? And you can see that in the United States, you can see that in the UK, but for Toronto, like, we just can't do that. And somebody said it in, I think it was a tweet the other day, like, we have a big brother syndrome. Literally, we can't like our own music and support ourselves unless somebody else supports that thing first. Then we feel like, okay, yeah, that person supported it, so now we should support it too. Right? We can't just do that by ourselves because we feel like it's not cool or we're not good enough. And in reality, we're way better than what we, kind of box ourselves into be. Right? But I think as a whole, our music scene is moving forward. And that's what I want to see it do at the end of the day, move forward. Right? So I can't hate on any of the music that's coming out. I can only say, yo, do your thing and make sure that it makes sense to you. And stop the cap.
I definitely know what you mean, and I definitely agree in various aspects too, so, and it could be evident from a lot of stuff too, with the academics thing that happened back in January to other stuff you see on Six Buzz or We Love Hip Hop and all that type of stuff, so it could be evidentiary in all aspects. So.
Yeah.
So just to end it off, what's next for you in terms of other music or any other stuff going on, and do you have any final words you'd like to say for any person or anyone pursuing their dreams?
What's next for me is I'm gonna be doing some giveaways on my Instagram, which is at DIZZLETHESTAR. You see what I'm saying? You can find me there. Right, I'm gonna be doing some giveaways. I'm gonna be doing a scavenger hunt, right? And this is all for promo, right? Because I will be having a couple of videos come out. I expect to be having 2 videos before next year, and about maybe 2 visualizers and a couple of lyrical videos. Because I know my supporters been wanting to hear a little bit more music from me, so I'm about to let a little bit out the vault, right? I'm not about to hold nothing in. I'm not about to be like that. So I'm gonna give them what they want to hear. But in terms of what I have coming up, yeah, I got about 2 videos in the vault. I'm hesitant to drop until I get a certain amount of love. And in terms of features, I'm looking towards 2 big features that I'm not going to name towards next year, but we're working towards it. And we're building up some funds to, drop it down, so when everything is said and done, Toronto's going to know the Scarborough artist, Dizzle The Star.
I think it's a very evidentiary, so Dizzle The Star, thank you for coming by, speaking your piece, dropping gems and promoting the music. And I think you already mentioned on here your social media ads and everything like that.
You can find me at Dizzle The Star everywhere, okay? Everywhere. Dizzle The Star, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Snapchat, the Apple Music, everywhere. right? So make sure you go click the link in my bio. You go listen to the EP 3434. I just dropped it. People are saying it's crazy. I got a track on there, all right, called Trip. That's one of my favorite tracks. Me and my boy JD did it too. It's crazy. About to come up with some more music, so just stay tuned and make sure you guys keep listening.
Yeah. And likewise, man. And until next time, man.
All right. Shout out to my boy Yashu for having me. You see what I'm saying? All the best in love, and we'll definitely see you again. You see what I'm saying? Dizzle the Star out.
All right.